Good morning. I'm happy that you are here. And I'm happy that I can make another video this morning. This morning I want to talk about the 2 steps to heaven. I want to talk about a phenomenon which every person on the spiritual path will encounter. I frequently talk about saying yes to life, about surrender to life, to God. In many of my videos, I tell you to accept what is, accept your feelings. And I tell you that this is needed to become happy, to find your way back to heaven, back to paradise. And this is true. This is needed. This is necessary. That's the way. Saying yes. Meditating. The Samarpan meditation, this is the meditation I talk about in almost every one of my videos. That's the tool, the simple tool for normal people like you, like me, to learn this yes, this letting go, this surrender. But then people hear this and they try it out. And then a few months later or a year later, they write to me and say, "Hey, Michael, nothing changes. This doesn't work." And I want to tell you what happens. I want to tell you why it doesn't work. It is like this. When you begin on this path, you learn to say yes. You learn surrender. But you do this out there. You say yes to your circumstances of life. You say yes to your feelings, to yourself. And this is all good. This is the beginning. But you say yes with an agenda. It is not a true yes. It is not a yes in innocence. But it is a yes connected with an expectation. It is a yes connected with some sort of idea about how it will be when everything is the way it should be. Or, to put it in other words, you know how it should be, and you think saying yes and surrender is the means to get there. So you begin to say yes to your feelings, so you can come to peace, and you will experience peace. You start saying yes to life's circumstances, and this will make your life much easier. But you believe, okay, if I do this, then whatever it is, then I will have no financial problems anymore. Then I will get the dream partner I deserve. Then I will get the job which will fulfill me and make me successful and happy. then I will get rid of my fear, then I will get rid of my feelings, and so on. For each person, it's different things. But you have certain ideas what it is that you will gain when you walk this spiritual path. I could also say it like this. You think you know how heaven is. And this doesn't work. But that's the first step. And I'm not saying that if you are in this phase of the spiritual path, that you're doing anything wrong. This is not the case. This is needed. Yeah? Every human being has to go through this phase, through this first step towards heaven. But then comes the time where you notice it doesn't work. My expectations are not being fulfilled. That what I expected does not take place. Life is not the way I imagined it to be when I do this. And then there are two possibilities. Some people, when they reach this point in life, they forget the whole thing. They say, this doesn't work. But then there are other people. And then those other people, they start looking closer. They realize, wait a moment. What I'm doing here is not really saying yes. What I'm doing here is not really surrender to life. I still have my ideas. I still have my agenda. I'm not surrendering at all. And when you notice this, when you're that mature, when you are that courageous to see this, then you realize, oh wow, it's about something else. You see, in the beginning, when you begin to say yes to this and yes to that and yes to the feelings and that yes to this and the other, you still are this person who wants to decide. You still claim the right to say yes or no. And you choose to say yes. And that's good. Yeah, that's the first step. You train yourself to say yes. You practice this. But you still are that person who says, okay, I agree. In this case, I say yes. But we will see about tomorrow. Yeah? But then you notice this is not what it is about. It is about saying yes to everything. Always. That means it's no question whether I will say yes or no. It's like the real challenge is to not decide anymore, do I say yes or no? The true challenge, and this is the second step into heaven, is to not decide anymore. Or, I could say, to decide today, I will stop deciding. I say yes now for everything, for all future. from now on, I'm not the one anymore who decides. I'm not the one anymore who agrees or does not agree. But I say yes to everything, unconditionally, forever. So the question disappears. The question, do I like this or not? Do I agree with this or not? Do I want to say yes or no? That question disappears. And this second kind of yes, the second step, that's what's transforming you. That's what changes everything. But that's a challenge. Because as long as you are the one who decides, everything is fine. Your ego is in control. You say yes. You surrender, but you decide. And this is not surrender. This is not yes. But then, when you say yes to everything, when you say to God, your will be done now and forever. Yeah, basically you tell God, okay, from now on, this is your life, not mine. I give up control. I give up the authority to decide. When you do this, there is no ego. This entity, that person who decides, is no more. That's the transformation. That's real surrender. And that's what I call the second step into heaven. The first step is a necessary step. But it's not enough. It's not the real thing. But that's where we start. Everybody has to start there. You start by saying yes to little things and to big things, to this and to that. And then you come to the point where you notice nothing is happening. I'm still the same idiot like always. My life is still a mess. I'm still not happy. And that's when you realize, okay, I do not get around the real thing. There's no way. I have to really say yes. I have to really surrender. And that means saying yes to everything. Surrender forever. My spiritual master Soham said, you can pick every part of your life and you can decide, okay, do I want to say yes to this or not? And then you pick the other part of your life and you think, oh, do I want to say yes to this or not? That's hard. That's a lot of work. And it's endless work. It doesn't lead you anywhere. But instead, you can just take the whole bunch of your life, everything you ever experienced, everything you experience now, and everything you will ever experience in your life. And you say yes to this. One yes, covering everything. That's easy. This one yes, that's easy. That transforms you. Something else he said is, he says, 99% is hard, difficult, impossible. 100% is easy. If you are still that one who wants to decide, okay, is this acceptable to me or not? As long as you do this, You have a hard life. But as soon as you accept 100% everything, this you only have to do once. That makes everything easy. That transforms you. This changes you. This does away with your ego. And it's not that this happens once and then you're done. This is a state of being, living in this constant yes. It's like you forget all your ideas about life. You forget all your preferences, how you want God to arrange life for you. But instead, you forget all of this. And you look how life really is. And you live with it. And by living life every moment without your preferences, without your ideas, there you discover how life really is. But this you have to discover new in every moment again and again. And that's where you discover heaven. In this yes, in this experience of life without your own ideas, without questions, without this question, do I like this or not? Now, for somebody who does not experience this, for somebody who is not at this second step, this sounds impossible. It sounds crazy. Yeah, then you think, why should I? Why should I do this? Why should I say yes? Everything is terrible. There are problems everywhere. Why should I say yes to this? I wanted to change. And it's hard to talk about this. Because, what happens is, when you do this second step into heaven, when you give up the control, when you decide once forever, yes, I said you are being changed. It's like your eyes change. The way you see life and the way you experience life changes. You are waiting for a change in life. You think getting to heaven means that life will change for the better. No more wars, no more problems, enough money, only nice men, only beautiful women. Yeah, you're waiting for heaven out there. But the change is not happening out there. It's happening in there, in you. And when you do this unconditional yes, you are being changed. Your vision is changed. The way you look changes. What you see changes. How you experience everything changes. Everything is different. Out there, it's still the same. But how it is for you, what you see, what you experience, is completely different. But this you have to experience by yourself. That's the difficult thing about the spiritual path. to take this second step without knowing what you will get. You can see it. You can't believe it. And yet you know. It's not that I try to convince you of something. I don't try to sell you anything. I can't do this. I tell you about this so you remember. Yeah? You hear me talk, and if you feel inside of you, yeah, he's right. I know this. This, your own knowing, that's what convinces you. Yeah? That's what enables you to move forward on this path. It's not me. Something in you knows. I just touch this so you can remember. But I can't convince you of anything, and I don't want to. But that's how it works. Often people have no idea what it means to say yes. Somebody who has no own experience with this then has some sort of imagination about this. They think, okay, this means I can't do anything anymore. I will just be the victim of everybody. I will just do whatever other people want, and I will be the victim. But this is not how it is. You say yes to how it is for you. You say yes to what you have energy for. And so you say yes to what you do not have energy for. Then you can do it. You say yes to what life gives you, what you cannot change. Then you accept. Sometimes life brings you something and you clearly feel the energy to do something, and then you do this. Yeah, it's a very simple, very immediate way of living. You just say yes to what comes to you, including your energy, including your repulsions, including your feelings and everything connected with this. It's the opposite of being a victim. It's very powerful. It has nothing to do with doing what somebody else wants. It's not giving attention to what you want and not giving attention to what anybody else wants. You just pay attention to what happens by itself. I will give you a practical example. Your partner comes to you and he or she wants something from you. And suddenly you feel, no. It's not that you ask yourself, do I want this or not? No, you just feel, no, this is impossible. No. And then you be true to this. You say yes to this, your own energy. And you say, no, sorry. No matter what it means. Usually we have an agenda. We want to be loved. We want that the relationship goes on. We want that everything is fine. We want to avoid conflict. So we do all kinds of things all day long. Although we don't want it. Or we don't do certain things we would love to do. We have energy for it, but we are scared that it will upset the partner or somebody else will think that we do the wrong thing. But when you forget about all this, when you forget what you want, when you forget what other people want, and you just pay attention to that, what is here, immediate, then it's easy. Somebody comes to you and wants something from you, and you just feel, oh yeah, okay. Or you feel, no. And that's what you do. Very simple. But it will challenge you, because all of your fears, all of your doubts will come up. It's there you learn trust. So it has nothing to do with being a victim of other people, quite the opposite. This will challenge you, and this will make you strong. And you have no idea where it leads you. I will give you another example. For instance, with a job. You have a job, and with this job you earn the money you need for living. But you dream of another job. You dream of a job. You don't know what that could be, but something different, something which fulfills you, something which makes you happy and gives you money at the same time. So you dream about such a job which is not here, and it makes your life miserable. But instead, just look what is here. You have this job which gives you money. And every morning you go to work. Every morning you have the energy to do this. It doesn't make you happy. It doesn't fulfill you. But you do it. You have the energy for it. You have the time for it. So you do it. That's what I mean, saying yes. Now, some people wake up one morning and they notice, I can't do this anymore. I will not go there one more time. This is not the outcome of some thinking. Many people think every day about their job. They think, should I do this? Should I quit? This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about forgetting all these thinking. I'm talking about forgetting all these questions. I'm talking about not deciding, but waiting what life does. If you are in this situation where one day you just can't do it anymore, this is life speaking. But this is a challenge. Then to be true to that requires courage. But this is an extreme case. Usually this doesn't happen. Usually you just get up and it's totally clear for you, of course I go to work today. Yeah, it doesn't make me happy, but of course I go to work. Of course I do the dishes. Of course I clean the house. No thinking required, no decisions required. That's surrender. Very practical, very simple, very down to earth. The opposite is thinking about things. What would I want rather than this? This is what some people call mindfuck. But you don't need to do this. It's like this. God knows what he or she wants me to do. And God speaks very clearly through energy. You don't have to think. It's totally obvious what God wants. And sometimes this is the point where people usually get confused. They think about everything, and then they don't know, what does God want from me? What does life want from me? What's here? Because they think all the time. And if you're in this state of confusion, it's very simple. There's a trick. Sometimes I do this trick. If you're not clear what's up right now, you just say, and that's how you can pray, hey God, I have no idea what to do. If you want me to do something here, you need to tell me very clearly, because I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know Is this mindfuck I'm doing, or is this life speaking to me? You need to make it clear to me. And then you forget about it. You stop thinking, you stop worrying about anything. You just do whatever is obvious to you. And you will be surprised. Because as soon as you do this, after you let go of all your questions and all the thinking, in no time it becomes totally obvious what wants to happen now. It's really like magic. And that's what I do often. I say, hey God, if this is not what you want, prevent me from doing it. Or if you want me to do something else, make me do so, because I don't know. And God does, very directly. I want to stay with this example of the job. Maybe you are totally confused and your mind makes your life difficult because your mind thinks about your job all the time. And I could have a better job and it could be much easier. I don't want this. I don't want to go to work. And then you just pray. You sit at breakfast and you pray, hey God, I'm sick of this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want. This is not my business. You decide. And then you just watch what happens. And then you finish your breakfast, you clean up the kitchen, and then you notice how you walk to your car and you drive to work. That's how you know. Or you get up, clean the kitchen, and you think, I don't want to go to work. And you go back to bed. And then you sit there and you forget everything. And then you notice how you feel totally uncomfortable and totally uneasy. And then you notice, I'm not at the right place. This is not where life wants me. You get up, you get dressed, and you drive to work. You can't do it wrong, So I wanted to give you some practical examples what this means, saying yes. Because when it gets practical, then it's easy to get confused when you don't have your own experiences with this whole matter. So I talked about these 2 steps. The first step is you begin to practice this saying yes in all these practical aspects of life, including your own feelings, including yourself and how you are. And then you will come to this point where you notice, no, this can't be it. I don't know what I'm doing here. This can't be it. It doesn't work. And when you are at this point, for this time, I make this video, that you know, there is a different kind of surrender, a different kind of yes. What I was doing so far was not the real thing. And then you begin to say yes forever. Then you begin to surrender unconditionally to the moment forever. But it's not that this, I said this earlier, it's not that you do this once. It's like you have to do this every moment again. The ego doesn't disappear in one instant. You realize this, yes, what is required of me in order to be really happy, in order to return to heaven, this yes is not a yes to something specific, but a basic attitude okay, God, from now on I am a yes. From now on I am surrender. And in this yes, in this surrender, there's no space for ego. There is no ego. But as soon as you stop this kind of being, ego is back. So it's adopting a new way of being rather than a specific yes or a specific surrender to something. And that's what life is about. That's what transforms you. That's what changes your experience of life and of yourself completely. And this is something you then are always. So it's not one yes and then you forget about it. It's a yes that begins and it goes on forever. It's a surrender which begins today and it goes on forever. That's why I say that kind of yes, that kind of surrender, you do again and again and again with every breath, with every heartbeat. Now I would like to read out a few emails and answer the questions which come with the email. And I love to do this because by answering to the practical questions about life from people, that what I talk about in the video becomes more tangible, becomes more understandable. And it's interesting, the questions I will read out now, I didn't specifically select to fit to the topic of this video. These are just the next emails which are up for answering. But it always fits because the basic answer is always the same. It's always about understanding what it is what I need to do. Understanding how this true yes, how this true surrender looks like in a given situation. That's why I can answer any question in any video, no matter what the specific topic is, because the answer is always the same. In every video, all I try to do is give you a taste of what this one task you have in this life is about. And then slowly you get a taste of this. And then you make your own experiences, and then you understand. Only then. That's why I like these practical aspects so much. That's why I love to answer questions in the video. So let's start with the first email. And this first email actually is a follow-up question that the lady who is writing in the first email, which I will read out in a moment, wrote to me before. And I think in the satsang in January, I answered her. She's in a situation, she lives in Austria and she's married. And she lives separate from her husband. She would like to get divorced. But her husband does not agree. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an expert in divorce law, but it seems like in Austria you can't get divorced if your husband or wife does not agree. So she's in this situation where she can't get a divorce, but her husband still lives in the house they have together. And because they're married legally, they share the financial responsibility for what they have. And now she's very worried. What might happen? The husband now wants money from her to maintain the house. And she asks, what can I do? I'm scared. I'm scared that, I can't get divorced. So I'm in this financial responsibility. I'm scared that I will lose money through this. Now this man wants money from me. How can I deal with this situation? And my first answer to her in the satsang was that her way to handle the situation is to be willing to be wrong, to be willing the way she is, and that this will change everything for her. And now she writes back the email. I will read out to you now. Beloved Michael, thank you for the answer to my questions in satsang. I still have a few questions on this topic. Can you say something more about how I should accept being wrong? How does that work in practice? My question was about my husband who wants me to give him money to renovate the house. I feel fear. I'm still legally married, and he has twice refused to allow the divorce. And if something happens, I'm forced to pay. How can I find peace? Can you tell me anything else? I thank you from the bottom of my heart for every word. It is helpful for me. I meditate every day, and I will continue to do so. Thank you. Thank you so much that you ask one more time. Yeah, how does this look like? Being willing to be wrong in your situation. Well, it simply means be the way you are. What gives you the trouble is that you think you should do something, but you can't. You think you should have some ability to handle the situation, but you realize, I can't handle this. I have no idea what to do. I'm helpless. I'm scared. Accept how you are, including your feelings. That's the first step for you. Okay, I am the way I am, incapable, scared. You think you should know what to do, but you don't. You want to magically change the situation, but you can't. The first step for you is to make peace with this. You are the way you are. No matter what you think about it. And when you do this, there is a second step which will happen naturally by itself. Once you begin to make peace with yourself and with how you are, you will naturally begin to make peace with the situation. You see, the situation is not the problem. The situation is just the way it is. What's so difficult for you is how you are, your fear, your helplessness, all your feelings, all the things you think about yourself. once you make peace with this, you will discover that the outward situation is not the problem. It just is the way it is. And then something else happens. When you start making peace with how you are and how you feel, then it is as if something new comes in. I call this creativity. As soon as you arrive where you are right now, by accepting it, and this starts with yourself, then you get completely new ideas. You will get inspiration of how to handle this situation, which you cannot imagine right now. What this is specifically, I don't know. Life will tell you, because you are in your situation. You will be surprised. But it all starts with yourself. It all starts with you making peace with yourself, how you feel, how you are not. Make peace with that. And when you're in peace with yourself, the way you experience your situation will completely change. That's where you learn this. This video was about, or is about, these 2 steps to heaven. You are at step 1. Start making peace with what is. Say yes to this. But start with yourself. The yes you develop for yourself and for your feelings, that will then carry over, and then you have a yes to everything else. In this video, I told you that this initial yes, this yes of the first step, is not enough. The real thing is something else. But I also told you, you need to be where you are. You can't jump over anything, and you don't need to. There's no hurry. You are in the first step. You learn to say yes to what's on your plate right now, to what's in your heart right now, to your feelings. And this will automatically bring you to all the next steps which come on your path. It happens automatically. You don't have to be wise. You don't have to be smarter than you are. I have no clue about my life. I have no idea what will happen next. I just say yes to now, as good as I can. So this is what I mean by being willing to be wrong for you practically. And then at some point, you will not only say yes to how it is for you now, but you will say yes to everything. But that's the second step. We grow into the second step automatically, just by doing the first step. Then it's easy. I could tell you, don't worry, everything is fine. I could tell you, don't be scared, there's no reason to be scared. But this does not help you. That's why I tell you, be scared. Say yes to the fear. Be the way you are. That is possible. That is doable. And that's easy. Being different than you are is impossible. And any change which wants to happen in your situation will happen magically. You will be surprised. I have a clear feeling about this in your life. And I'm really curious what you will tell me a year from now. I'm happy to hear that you meditate. That's all which is needed. Meditation will help you to develop the courage for this yes. Yeah, this meditation will help you to make peace with yourself every morning, with your feelings, with your fear. Take this fear with you in the meditation. And just be the way you are and meditate like this. Don't think, forget all the thoughts. Just meditate. Be the way you are, no matter how this feels. And tell me what happens if you want. I'm curious. I'm happy that you're here. I'm so touched by these questions. Okay, let's go on to the next email. For quite some time now, I have no clue of what's going on with my husband. We talk, but we don't understand each other. I know that he finds me strange, me and my many questions and my sensitivity. I was able to stop craving his approval, but now there has been nothing but silence for months. I cannot and don't want to tell him what's bothering me. I don't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe with him. We already separated in spring, and since then I have been dependent on support due to my exhaustion. I was in a hospital, in a clinic, and then with my mother. During this time, my husband took care of the children, of the house and the work, and he does a great job with this. I had a lot of time for myself, and I met a man, my neighbor, who occasionally came for a walk with me and who encouraged me based on his own experiences with his own crises. It feels good to be with us, to be able to talk about everything and not feeling weird about my own idiosyncrasies and feelings. There's a great sympathy on both sides. My relationship with my husband has reached the point of silence, and the relationship that this new man has with his partner is at the same point. Now I am worried that I am falling into the next trap, like fleeing into something simpler, because the thing with my husband feels so difficult. Because for years there seemed to be no solution. And because the more I just am how I am, the more I am rejected by my husband. After the clinic, his condition was that I could come back when I'm back to normal, when I leave all the spiritual and esoteric stuff alone. But I can't. Something inside me pulls me there. So, back to my question. Am I escaping into the arms of this new, understanding man? Am I missing something? Do you have any words for me? Thank you so much for your letter. I love you. It's like I can feel your situation from the inside so well. You are worried that you are running into the next trap. So let's talk about how to avoid traps. You avoid traps by just being where you are. Don't go anywhere. Don't run into the arms of this new man. Don't run away from your husband. But simply be where you are. Including everything, including your feelings, including your frustration about the situation with your husband and that nothing changes since years. Don't go anywhere. Don't make a decision. But be where you are and experience what's in your life right now. You enjoy the new man and you experience the difficult situation with your husband and all the other things happening in your life. You see, the situation with your husband is so difficult for you because there was a time when you thought that this is it. This makes you happy. But it doesn't. It's difficult. Now you met this new man. And now you think, this will make me happy. Of course it won't. But that's how it feels right now. And as long as you look for happiness out there, you will be disappointed. It's inevitable. But I suggest to you that you stop running away from something and that you stop running towards something. I suggest to you that you stop avoiding something and also stop getting something, but just be where you are. It's like, don't decide, but accept. Earlier in this video, I spoke about that initially in life, we learn to say yes, and we learn this surrender to life in these individual situations. But then later we realize this is not it. What's required of me is that I stop making decisions, but just say yes to everything, how it is now. And you are at this point. The situation you face right now is a perfect playground to practice this. Yeah? You get up in the morning and you pray to life, to God, and you say, hey, thank you for this life. Thank you for my husband. Thank you for this new man. Thank you for my feelings. I say yes to all of this. Like I did yesterday, and like I will do tomorrow. And then you are just where you are. You make no decision. You know, it's easy. You have this husband, and you don't want this, what you experience with him. And then there's this new guy, and it's lovely, and you like what you experience with him. And it's very tempting to make a decision. It's very tempting to believe, this old, I don't want this anymore. This new, this is it. But instead, don't decide. Be where you are with everything. And it's like God knows exactly what she's doing. You can see the perfection, but it's perfect. And what happens is that this situation you are in changes you. The situation with your husband forces you to be true to yourself. You think it's a problem, but in reality, it's a help for you. It throws you back onto yourself. It makes you strong. It forces you into your own arms. This is so valuable. Yeah, life shows you this is not where you find happiness. You need to look somewhere else. And you are on that path to the inside. Now comes this new man. And this is great. Because he promises you, I make you happy. This is lovely. And this tempts you to go back away from yourself. But you don't have to. You can just stay where you are, inside of yourself. Your husband helps you to learn to be with yourself. Because it's impossible with him. And this new man helps you to become even stronger in yourself. Because it's such a nice temptation to go out there again and to believe in the dream again that a man will make you happy. Now, I'm not saying to avoid anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't meet this new man. I'm not saying that you should move back in with your husband. I'm just saying, be where you are. Experience everything without a decision. This will change you. And out of this change, which happens in you, without you doing anything, everything else will develop by itself. This situation also changes your husband. It also changes this new man. When you are true to yourself, when you are where you are, if you refuse to decide, if you refuse to run anywhere, not in his arms, not away from the old man, if you just remain stubbornly where you are, this will change you and the man and everything else. Because it allows the situation to do its work. That's all which is needed. This situation has been created for all of the people involved to get changed, to grow. And you can trust this. I want to tell you about the end of my last relationship. Right now I'm living with my partner and her 2 kids. We are together since many years. But before this relationship, I was in a very long relationship with another woman. I think we were together 10 years or something like this. And then came a time where I noticed, something changes. This relationship probably will come to an end. I'm talking about a time which is, I think, 15 years ago. And at that time I was already with my spiritual master Soham since 10 years. And when I came to this point with this girlfriend, I fell in love with another woman, and I thought, this is much nicer. And this old relationship comes to an end. I felt it clearly. But my master gave me a good advice. Soham told me, don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Yeah, don't discuss it with your girlfriend. But be where you are. Feel yourself, feel your feelings. And just stay where you are. Don't do anything. And that's what I did. And then the relationship did come to an end. But it took years. I think it took another 3 years. I was not making any decision. This other woman I was in love with was long gone. Then I fell in love with another one. But I didn't move. I didn't run into anything new, and I did not decide to end something old. I just remained where I was. I was just feeling myself. I just felt my feelings every day. I refused to decide. I refused to move. I refused to move away from something. I refused to move towards something new. And then something amazing happened. I said, I didn't think about it at all. I didn't talk about it. I was just experiencing life every day the way it was. And then one day, about 3 years later, I suddenly noticed, wow, the relationship is gone. It ended. Where did it go? It ended by itself. It evaporated slowly, gradually by itself. That's how things end. We cannot end anything. We cannot begin anything. It all happens by itself. Of course, we try to begin new things, we try to end things, but it never works. It's always a mess. Now, in my case, what I just told you, this relationship really came to an end. But I also experienced other situations where then things changed completely and went on in a completely new way, which I could have never imagined before. And that became possible because the situation changed me and also changed the other people involved. And then everything becomes different. So you don't know what will happen. Everything is open. Just be open for everything. Don't decide. Be in the moment. And that's easy if you are willing for this second yes, for the second step. That's where you are. Become choiceless. I know there are things which are more pleasant than others. There are things which are much more difficult and unpleasant than others. But still, no choice. Just thank you, life, for this today. Okay, I feel this, I experience this. And you will be amazed what changes by itself. And you will be surprised in which direction it changes. You know, I just told you the story about how my relationship from back then ended. But the result was not that I had this relationship ended and a new beautiful relationship started. Of course, then I ended up in a new relationship. First I was with a few girls for a shorter time, and then at some point I met my partner of today. But this is not what happened. The real thing what happened was this old relationship ended and a completely new kind of relationship started. The relationship with myself. I started to be with myself. And I have ever since. I've been with myself ever since. Later, I had friendships with other women. Now I have a relationship with my partner of today. But I'm living with myself. That's where I'm living. I began to live on a new level, so to speak. And this is something we cannot decide for this, because we don't know this. Yeah, we don't know this entirely new that will come. But it comes by itself, and we are being raised up to this new unknown just by being where we are. So if you just are where you are, don't decide anything, you will avoid falling into any trap. You don't run anywhere, you don't run away from anything. You just are where you are. And life will transport you to all the places you need to be. That's easy. And meditate every day. There you will discover that what guides you. There you discover that what nourishes you. You probably know this already. But maybe you forget. Just start again. Thank you for writing. I'm so touched. Yeah. In this video I talked about these 2 steps to heaven. And these 2 steps are natural steps. I told you that life begins, the spiritual life begins with learning to say yes and to surrender. And we do this in individual situations. We learn, oh wow, I could actually say yes to this. And then we learn how relieving it is to say yes. We learn what a great relief and joy it is to surrender to that what is. And then we do this again in the next difficult situation and in the next beautiful situation. And more we learn, oh wow, this is really the way to live. And then we come to this point where we realize this is not it. Something is not right, it doesn't work. And then you notice, it's not about saying yes to this and saying yes to this, or surrendering to this and surrendering to that. It's about saying yes to everything all the time. It's actually about not deciding anymore, forgetting making decisions, but just being this yes forever. This surrender to life, to God. And that's what transforms you. That's the beginning of the new life. That's when you enter heaven. And it's important to know that this is a natural path. You can't be further than you are. I'm not saying that you do something wrong if you are not doing this second kind of yes. No, this is not what I'm saying. I'm giving you a heads up. I'm just telling you what is coming, so you understand yourself and your feelings better. All you need to do is be where you are. You do this kind of yes, which is easy and natural for you today. And this brings you all by itself, without you having to worry about anything, automatically to the next and the next and the next step. You say yes to your situation you are in right now, because you hope this will make everything better. And you do this many, many times, and then you notice what you expected doesn't happen. And then you learn to let go of your expectations. And out of this develops this real yes, this innocent yes. And that is what will transform you and change you. And then your life is different. It all happens by itself. You just meditate. You just practice the yes you are capable of today. No reason to worry about anything. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, if you feel like more of Dian Michael, if you want to watch more videos, you can subscribe to my free newsletter. I send out a newsletter every time I publish a new video and a new recording from a satsang. And if you don't want to miss anything, just subscribe to my free newsletter and you will get informed by me. And in each newsletter, I also usually write a little bit personal about my own life, about my own personal life experience. And just to give you an example about how to live and how to deal with real life. And everything which I do online, everything, all the videos and all the satsangs are free. They don't cost anything. And it has to be like this, because that what I share here with you is a gift for me. It has been given to me freely. It's not my own wisdom. I just share what has been given to me. I don't even know where it's coming from, but it certainly is not mine. That's why I cannot sell it. And it's a gift to me because by me sharing it with you, I just become happy. Yeah, and I learn. Just by talking about it, I learn the same thing again and again and again. It's magic for me. But just for practical reasons, I'm very happy for financial support, because basically all of my time and all of my energy goes into making videos, giving satsang, answering live questions, and so on. And if you feel joy to support me in this, then I'm very happy. And if you're interested, on my website, on the donate page, I collected information for you how you can support me. The easiest way is just by a membership. There's a lovely German membership provider called Steady, and you can start a membership there. And in this way, every month I get a small amount which supports me. And this is a great help for me. It starts with €8 a month. You can choose from several amounts. And this is great for me. When enough people do this, I have enough means to just keep doing videos as much as I can. But there are also other possibilities. On my website, you find all the information. But the important thing for me is that you know everything I do online is free, and I don't want you to have any sense of obligation. This is all for you. And if you feel joy, if it makes you happy, then support me, and I'm happy too. And if you have questions about your life, about your problem, about your spiritual path, I invite you to write to me. I really love getting your emails and your letters. It's inspiring for me, and it helps me to clarify what it is, what makes this life so easy and so magic in a practical way. Thank you for being here. I love you.